So these are like romance rules. Do you like them or not? Love it or leave it, the protagonists meet in the first 10% of the novel.
Oh, love it.
Love
What's
it.
gonna happen if they take longer than that? It's still a romance? Like, no, no, thank you. First 3 pages, please.
Look, I have read like all of Amanda Cook books. I love her books so much. And literally, she has a formula. It works for me. They kiss in the third chapter. By the third chapter, the protagonists kiss. That's what I want.
All
If they haven't
right.
met yet, there might be a damn good reason.
Yeah.
All
I don't want to read
right.
about their separate lives. That's not why I'm in this.
No.
Love it or leave it, dual point of view narration.
Love it.
Love it.
And I think, Meg, you would even at least add multiple. You'd love even more than dual.
Yeah, I definitely want both main characters on page. I'm also fine with more, yes.
Yeah, unless it's like Elizabeth Hoyt style, in which case that's stupid fucking made.
No, I skip Bridget every
Bridget
time
can
I read that
go.
book.
Bridget
No,
can go.
no.
Leave Bridget behind.
I told someone that whenever I read Sweetest Scoundrel, so Sweetest Scoundrel is actually one it's terrible. One of my favorite books in the Maiden Lane series. I love it. It's so much fun. Such a good book. Elizabeth Hoyt does this thing in that series where she sets up the next book by writing scenes from the characters who are going to be the main characters of the next book. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm going to go out on a limb and say most of the time it does not work. And in Sweetest Scoundrel, does not work. Every time it's in Bridget's perspective, I skip. I like skip to the next scene. I've reread this book many, many times. I skip it every time.
She like has straight up forgotten how much of that book is from Bridget's perspective.
I was like, Bridget, what are you talking about, Bridget?
Yes to duel. More than that, I've got some quibbles.
It's got
Depends.
to
You
be
better do it
good.
well.
It's got you're right.
I similarly, I honestly, I would on my first read start skipping those perspectives. As soon as I like pick up that it's not actually moving the plot forward and it's just for series service, I'd be like, no, I'm not reading that. So,
I respect that choice.
love it or leave it, third person past tense narration.
Love it.
Love it.
Don't give me a first person.
It reads like a teenage girl's diary, which is really weird when it's like a 35-year-old dude.
That's why they're single perspective. First person, present tense, single perspective. I just can't.
Not saying I have never liked a book with first person present tense, because I
But
have.
when I do, I'm like, what did I just like that?
There's a famous quote by Jonathan Franzen about how you should only use first person if you can really justify that it is that character's very specific voice. Like you can't just use a generic first person. And when I
Yes.
first heard that, I was like, okay, stuck up literary author, but I have come to really agree with him.
I agree with him. I agree with him 100%. I hate it when I'm so I just said that I like my number one hate is a single POV first person present tense. However, if you give me a dual perspective first person present tense and I can't tell them apart, I hate it even more.
Yes. Okay. Love it or leave it. The third act breakup or
Leave
dark
it.
moment.
So the breakup, I can leave it. Dark moment, you need to have a moment where you don't know how they're going to work it out, right? So dark moment is fine with me, but breakup, I can leave it. Like in Mr. Impossible, I'm going to spoil it, guys. But what happens is she thinks he gets shot and gets eaten by crocodiles and they get separated. So,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
break
Aw.
up. It's fine.
I don't know what you mean by dark moment. Sure, I'm fine with the conflict continuing into the third act, but I would like it if my main characters are still true
Yeah,
to each other and
don't
sure
hate each
of
other.
each other. Thank
Yeah,
you
yeah,
so
yeah.
much.
The dark moment is usually the relationship is in peril.
Yeah,
So
no.
in your example, it's in peril because she believes he's been killed by an alligator.
Yeah,
Crocodile.
Correct. Well, like he asked her to marry him and she says no. Like that could be the dark moment too. So like that's
Hmm.
there has to be a relationship conflict, right?
Yeah. You have to doubt that they're going to end up together.
Right. You're like, how are they going to end up together? But
Okay. All right. Okay. Love it or leave it. Always end with an epilogue.
Leave it.
You can leave it. I don't, I mean, good either way.
Yeah, I'm actually a little over the pro forma epilogue. Like if you're not actually adding anything, if there's nothing I wanted to see come to fruition, like
Okay,
leave it behind.
if there's a sex scene in the epilogue and it's not about having kids, Lane's fine with it.
I'm not saying I never like if I don't know if the whole book is about whether or not she's going to get to found a company and the epilogue is her in her president's office or whatever. Great. Like I want to see what the characters wanted come to fruition. But when the epilogue is just like 3 weeks later, a normal morning at home, I'm like, this did not need to be here. Like
Yeah,
epilogue should not be the default. Like use
yeah.
them when they say something.
But I want them, I want it to be, look, I like epilogues, they're fine, but I want them to be good. I just read one of my most favorite romance novels. I skipped the epilogue because I hate it. So
Name names, Meg.
it's For My Lady's Heart, and the epilogue has neither of the main characters in it. So I'm like, no, thank you.
That's not an epilogue. That's a new story.
Correct. I was like, no, thanks. I'm good.
All right. Love it or leave it. Always read the author's note.
Leave it. Those exist.
I like it. I love it. I don't need it, but I enjoy them when they're there.
All right. I usually ask authors, are there other romance rules that they break? Are there romance rules you wish were broken more?
I want more heroines who are open about having sex with other people. Like
At the same time in the relationship or previous to the relationship?
previous to the relationship, but like on the page textually. Like, no, not cheating. Like, I'm not saying I want there to be more cheating in romance, but I do feel like even as the virginal heroine trope has been more and more done away with, there's still an aversion to like heroines who have had previous positive sexual experiences, especially with non-dead husbands. More of that would be great.
We already talked about how we really like I really, really like when they're on the same page. I personally, I don't like love enemies to lovers. It's just not that interesting to me. I want to see them working together and being together more. So I don't know if it's a rule, but it's just something that I prefer.
Awesome. Well, thank you for playing Love It or Leave It and sharing your hot takes.
Super,
Fresh takes.
super, yeah.